ready? You can start.
Every year during the last month of February, I teach a course on storytelling in the ministry at the Virginia Beach United Methodist Assembly Center in Blackstone, Virginia. And this past February, as I was leaving that workshop on Sunday afternoon, I took a left on 460 West. And after about 10 miles, my new Garmin told me to take a right on New Richmond Road, Old Richmond Road. Now, normally I would pull directions from MapQuest and I'd take 460 all the way to I-85. And I didn't know Old Richmond Road at all. But I trusted my new Garmin. I had paid a lot of money for it and I was going to let it do its job. So I turned right. And Old Richmond Road is a narrow, paved road that runs through the middle of a thick forest. There aren't any homes on that road. There aren't any businesses on that road, and that day there was not even any traffic on that road. And after 9 miles on that road, when my Garmin told me to take a right on Devil's Bridge Road, and I found more of the same, I realized that my new Garmin was taking me on a route less traveled. And that got me remembering my Uncle Earl. My Uncle Earl claimed that in his youth he had been kidnapped by aliens on a road just such as this one. He said the aliens had taken him into their spaceship, and they had poked him and prodded him. They had even taken a sperm sample, hoping to make a hybrid alien-human baby. He didn't know how that turned out because they let him go beforehand. But he also said that when he was taken, they had taken a little field mouse along with him. And he watched as an alien took an eyedropper and dropped a tiny drop of pungent brown liquid on that tiny mouse's head. And right before Uncle Earl's eyes, that mouse grew to the size of a German shepherd. And as I remembered that, I started wondering, could there be aliens on this road? If they are there, I hope they don't notice me. And at that very moment, from the woods on the left-hand side of that road, I saw something run in a blur in front of my car. I slammed on my brakes, but it was too late. I hit it. So I got out of my car. I walked around to the front to see what I had hit. It was a pig. It was a big pig. It was 15 feet long.
Ooh.
Took up the width of the entire lane that I had been driving in. And I thought, well, I better assess the damage to the car, but there was no damage to the car. There wasn't a mark or a scratch or a dent on that car. So I went over and I poked that pig. That pig was so fat that when that car had hit it, it was like hitting a giant inner spring mattress. That's why there was no damage to the car. And then I thought, well, I can't just let this pig lie here. On the other hand, it was too big for me to move it by myself. So I took out my cell phone. But wouldn't you know, I was in a dead zone. So dead I couldn't even call 911. And then, of course, as I said, there were no businesses and there were no homes on that road. But it was a paved road, so I knew if I waited, sooner or later, another vehicle was going to come by. So I waited. I waited. Finally, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon and no sign of any other vehicle at all. And I thought, well, it is February. It's cold out here. And it's going to be dark about 4:30, and I sure don't want to be caught here in the twilight zone after dark. And then I heard something. It was that pig. It was rolling its head slowly back and forth, and it was moaning. Well, I wasn't about to wait and see what kind of mood that pig was in when it woke up. So I jumped into my car, drove around the pig, flew down the road. In a few minutes, I came to River Road, which is familiar territory to me. And not long after that, I was home. I went out to dinner with some friends that night. I didn't tell them about the pig. I didn't think they'd believe it anyway. But that evening, as I was getting ready for bed, my doorbell rang. opened the door, and there on my front porch stood a Chesterfield County police officer. And he said, "Ma'am, are you Ms. Linda Goodman?" And I said, "Yes, officer, what can I do for you?" And he said, "Well, we have it on good authority that you were involved in a hit and run this afternoon." I said, "Oh, no, I wasn't involved in a hit and run." "So you're saying you were not the driver of a car that hit Moses Ambley's prize-winning pig on Devil's Bridge Road this afternoon?" I had no idea that hitting a pig could be considered hit and run, but I had done it. So I said, "Well, yes, officer, that was me, all right." And he said, "Well, you hit a pig, it fled the scene. That's a $250 fine. Now you can give me that now and we'll call it square. Or you can come with me to the jail and spend a couple of nights until your court case comes up." Well, that wasn't a difficult choice to make. I wrote the check to him, gave it to the man, he walked away, and finally I called out, Officer, stop a minute, let me ask you something." There weren't any businesses on that road. There weren't any homes on that road. There wasn't even any other traffic on that road. How did you know that it was me? Was there some kind of super strong radar out there? He turned and looked at me and he said, "No, ma'am, there was no radar." The pig squeaked. And that's the incident on a strange, deserted road.
That is a great
Thank you
story.
so much.
Isn't that a great story?